What's good, Niner gang? Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, as always, Chase Sr. Give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Coming up, our brand new and updated 53-man roster projection. I did one of these in May, but training camp is in full swing right now, so we have to update this a bit. 49ers' first preseason game as we look at the schedule looking ahead. It's going to be August 14th, 2 Saturdays against the Kansas City Chiefs. We will be live for a watch party right here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe and join us. The 53-man roster cut-down date set for August 31st, and the season opener against the Detroit Lions, that is going to take place on September 12th. Is Trey Lance going to be the starter? Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to be the starter? We will see. Only time will tell. But speaking of that, let's take a look at the quarterbacks as we dive into this latest 53-man roster projection. For me, very easy. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on this roster week one. Is he going to be the starter? Not sure. If he's the backup for Trey Lance, a very good veteran backup for the rookie. Nate Sudfeld, so far in training camp, I think has been outplaying Josh Rosen. That's why I have him as the third-string quarterback. We shift over to the running backs because I think this is one of the more intriguing camp battles going down in Santa Clara because this running back room is deep, it's stacked, and all of these guys possess different types of skill sets. Raheem Mostert, physical but has his 4.3 speed. Trey Sermon, one of the more physical running backs of this past NFL draft class. I really like him, and I think Kyle Shanahan could kind of unleash him a little bit as a pass catcher. Jeff Wilson, also a very good and dynamic running back out of the backfield, but he's going to be injured for the first several weeks of this upcoming season. How does that impact his standing on this 53-man roster? Wayne Gallman filling in for Saquon Barkley last year. I thought he was really good, but honestly, he could be on the roster bubble. I have him making it. So too is Elijah Mitchell. Compared himself to Alvin Kamara coming out of Louisiana. I think this guy could be very special in terms of his speed. Kyle Shanahan utilizing him in the passing game. That's why I think Shanahan is going to go with these 5 running backs on this roster. And of course, you can't forget about Juice, right? Because Kyle Juszczyk this offseason in NFL free agency set a record as the highest paid fullback ever, overtaking his own record a couple years ago. This guy is such a serious weapon in Kyle Shanahan's zone scheme because you can use him to pave running lanes for all of those aforementioned running backs. I actually think he can play a little tight end hybrid a little bit and catch some balls out of the slot. Grade the 49ers running backs for me during this roster projection. A, B, C, D, or F. Be sure to get those votes in the comment section down below. I'm not sure they have a superstar, but I'm going to go ahead and submit my B. Shift over to the wide receivers now. Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, studs. They are locks to make this roster. After that, a lot of questions. If Jalen Hurd is going to be able to stay healthy, this guy can be a very dynamic wide receiver. Other guys that we're looking at in addition to Jalen Hurd to claim these wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 4 spots. Mohamed Sanu, having a really good training camp so far. Trent Sherfield caught that deep bomb from Trey Lance after he backfooted that dime ball a couple days ago earlier this week in training camp. I think he's going to make this roster because he brings you special teams value as well. And I have Richie James as the final wide receiver on this roster. So 6 guys making the final cut on the 53. Who do you think is the sleeper at wide receiver? Is it Trent Sherfield? Is it Richie James? Maybe Jawan Jennings? Is it Austin Watkins? Get those names in the comment section. I really love betting on football, and I hope you love betting on football too, because we're going to talk a lot of sports betting on this channel in the weeks and months to come. So without further ado, let's look at some odds for the 49ers game against the Kansas City Chiefs week 1 of the preseason. Niners currently 1.5-point favorites, and I'm kind of monitoring that over-under line because I don't really like to go with the spread when I know a lot of backups are playing. Kind of looking at that over-under though. How about NFL Rookie of the Year odds? All quarterbacks. And Trey Lance has been going up this board very, very quickly. Currently 5-1 odds behind Trevor Lawrence, who's the leader in the clubhouse at plus 225. Justin Fields right behind Lance at plus 550 because Trey Lance, obviously the better quarterback, and Zach Wilson at plus 650. The good news is if you want to put down some lettuce and make some bets on these wagers or on some future 49ers games, how about you use this deposit bonus thanks to our sportsbook partner at BetUS. This sounds fake, but I'm telling you, it's real. You go to chatsports.com/49bet. You enter the promo code Niners125. You get a 125% deposit bonus, meaning you put down $100, you get $225 of basically free money to put some bets down with. I mean, are you kidding me? Chatsports.com/49bet. Use that link and that promo code. That's the only way that deposit bonus will hit. Few more offensive positions here. Tight end, George Kittle, Ross Dwelly, Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews might be the surprise player here. Converted wide receiver going to tight end. He caught a touchdown pass on Wednesday. He's looked pretty solid at tight end. He's added 30 pounds of muscle throughout this offseason to bulk up so that he could make that position switch. And I think he gives you a little bit of a dynamic element at the tight end spot and some positional versatility playing tight end and wide receiver. That's why I think he sneaks in as tight end 3. Will J-Matt make the final 53? Predict it for us. Type M for yes, he'll make it. Type W for nah, he won't. Get those predictions in right now. Offensive linemen. I think this Niners offensive line, probably the best in the NFC West when you match it up against some of the other offensive lines in this division. Trent Williams, highest paid left tackle. Laken Tomlinson, a very serviceable and quality guard. I think he's somewhat underrated. Alex Mack, an all-pro caliber center, reunites with Kyle Shanahan after Shanny coached him in Cleveland as well as Atlanta. Aaron Banks, right now not pegged as the starter at right guard. I think eventually he will become the starting right guard. He's safe to make this roster as a second-round pick. And Mike McGlinchey, even though he struggled last year, he's going to be your starting right tackle. 3 more spots to get to on this offensive line as depth pieces. Jalen Moore, the rookie out of Western Michigan, can play both tackle as well as guard. Niners like him more as a guard. Colton McKivitz has been getting some of those first-team reps ahead of Aaron Banks at that right guard spot. He gives you good depth either as a starter or as a backup. And Daniel Brunskill, like Colton McKivitz, kind of competing for some of those snaps at that right guard spot. Tom Compton has been in the mix as well, and he is certainly firmly entrenched on this roster bubble. Right now, I don't think Tom Compton is going to make it. I don't have him making this final 53. Injuries could have him on that roster. Or if the Niners really value offensive line, they want another depth piece there, maybe they hang on to Tom Compton and they let go of another player. Niner gang, help me out. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I mean, what the hell are you doing? Because nobody's doing what we're doing here on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. We bring you the latest news and rumors. Any training camp updates that do happen, we have you updated here on the 49ers Report. We go live every single Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. If anything breaking happens of significance, we go live as well. So smash and annihilate that subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/49erstv. We move to the defensive end of the football. Defensive linemen, man, this defensive line can certainly be special. Nick Bosa, I think he has 10-sack potential. Eric Armstead, I think he too has 10-sack potential. Javon Kinlaw, as that first-round pick from 2020, has boatloads of potential. He's a potential breakout player for me. Samson Ebukam, a lot of people didn't really realize how good of a player this guy was with the Rams because he's overshadowed by guys like Aaron Donald. I think he's going to be unleashed on this Niners defense as a hybrid edge rusher and linebacker. He's no doubt going to make this roster. DJ Jones, an underrated defensive tackle. 5 more guys to get to along this defensive line because this defensive line really can go 10 deep. Mo Hurst comes to the Niners from the Raiders. He's been playing well so far with the pads on. D Ford coming back from those back and neck injuries, participating in 11-on-11s. Chase Trey Lance to the sideline, showing health as well as speed. Kevin Givens, not a bad rotational interior defensive lineman. Arden Key, like Mo Hurst, coming to the Niners from the Raiders. And Zach Kerr, a quality backup along this defensive line. Wouldn't really surprise me if on some plays he's on the interior, other plays he goes out wide. That positional versatility, another reason why I think Zach Kerr is going to make this roster as one of the final cuts along the D line. Speaking of D, if you're a girl, hopefully you like D and D Ford. Can D Ford stay healthy? It was a joke. Don't worry about it. Type H for hell yeah. Type Y for yikes. Let me know if you think D Ford can stay healthy, because if he does stay healthy, this defensive line could be very, very entertaining. Linebackers now. 49ers like their defensive line, have one of the best linebacking cores in the league, led by all-pro Fred Warner. This guy just a superstar player who can completely wreck games and wreak havoc. Dre Greenlaw, I think he's somewhat underrated, also a very good player. Azeez Al-Shahir, out for the next couple of weeks because of a knee injury, not expected to be serious. And a story to follow here, it's Marcel Harris. Formerly a defensive back, but DeMeco Ryans and this defensive coaching staff exploring and testing a little bit with Marcel Harris playing linebacker. Does that help him a little bit in maybe some dime and nickel sets? We'll see. Cornerbacks, Jason Verrett, Emmanuel Mosley, K'Wan Williams. Jason Verrett has to stay healthy for this Niners secondary to really fulfill expectations. I like Emmanuel Mosley and K'Wan Williams as well. I'm somewhat concerned about the depth here at cornerback because if any of those three guys go down, you have to turn to a rookie in Ambry Thomas. You have to go to a rookie in Diamador Lenore. I like Dante Johnson, but really, this Niners secondary may be the thinnest in terms of depth and experience on this roster right now. Speaking of those two rookies, who's going to play more of the two young corners? Ambry Thomas or Diamador Lenore? Type AT for Ambry Thomas, DL for Diamador Lenore. Let me know what you're thinking among these two. At the safety spot, Jimmy Ward. He's been getting it done for a really long time. He's one of the best leaders on this Niners roster. So too is Jaquiski Tart. Talanoa Hufanga. I think he does make the final 53 just inside the bubble because he can play a little linebacker. He can play a little safety, although he's not the rangiest guy going sideline to sideline. Loves playing special teams. Tony Jefferson, another cool story to follow. Guy hasn't played since 2019. He had secured the bag with the Baltimore Ravens. When he was with the Arizona Cardinals, he was one of the better safeties in the league, went to Baltimore, and really didn't live up to the expectations put on him with that large contract. But I think this guy is hungry. He's coming off a torn ACL, rested a little bit last year, sat out because of COVID. I think he does make this roster as the final safety and brings you some pretty quality experience. Lastly, the specialists. Robbie Gould, he's been a very competent to very good field goal kicker. He's going to make this team unless he gets injured. Mitch Wishnowsky also going to make the squad. So too is Tabor Pepper. The special teams unit, it's pretty solid. And last time when we did a 53-man roster projection, a lot of people asked me, Chase, what about the return specialists? All of those guys are a part of the 53-man roster that we just broke down. Could a guy like Trent Sherfield compete on special teams as a gunner, maybe a returner? There's been some talk about Brandon Ayuk returning some punts. You're looking at maybe a guy like Ambry Thomas to return some kicks because he did that at Michigan. I have all of those guys making the roster, and all of those guys could compete for special teams snaps. Speak up. Who did I miss? Be honest with me. Name a player in the comment section. If you ask me, I thought that roster projection was pretty damn flawless, but a lot of time left until the start of the regular season. Name a player that you thought I missed in the comment section.